Hey y'all, I'm gonna let you in on how I winterize my boat. It's a 2001 Taiga 21V. It's got a 350 Mercruiser motor. It's pretty simple to do. There's a couple different ways that you can do it, but this is how I do it, and I'll let you in on that process, so stand by. So the first thing you have to do is get your motor warmed up, and this is the reason for doing this is to get the thermostat to open up, and you want to warm up your motor for getting the oil. So we're going to do an oil change during this as well. So the first process in doing all this is you're going to get the motor warmed up. The reason you want to do that is because we're going to be doing an oil change during this process as well. So you want to make sure that oil is good and warm and circulated, and it just makes it a lot easier to get out. Also, you want to warm it up so your thermostat opens up, and when we put in our antifreeze, all the antifreeze is going to get through the whole motor. So I'll walk you around. I hope you can hear me because the motor is on right now, but I'll walk you around what we got going on. So we've got our 5-gallon gravity feed, 5 gallons of antifreeze here, and I'm just using RV and marine antifreeze. You can pick this up at Walmart, $3 a gallon. And what we got going on here is we've hooked up our garden hose and our Fake-A-Lake on there. And we're warming the motor up, got our garden hose going, and we've got water coming out of our exhaust, right? So you can see it's a little steamy because it's already warm. And next process is going to be switching over from the garden hose to the marine antifreeze. So I'm going to turn my motor off, I'm going to shut my garden hose off, and I'm going to hook this end of the antifreeze to the Fake-A-Lake. So let's turn that off and we'll hook up some antifreeze. Hey, so one thing I want to note here is getting your boat up to temperature. Turn this camera around and I'll show you my temp gauge. Just want to make sure it's, like I said, all the way up to temperature, and it'll be a little bit low because we're on water, garden hose water, so it's a little bit cold outside. It's actually 32 today. I've been meaning to do this for a while, just haven't got a chance to. So let me turn this camera around and I'll show you. Excuse my messy boat here. I'm going to get the interior redone in the spring, so I'm not really worried about it right now. But right now the motor's on. As you can see, it's all the way down to 120. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it in neutral, and I'm going to rev it up just a little bit to show you that it is all the way up to temperature. So we'll rev it up a little bit, and you'll see that it'll come right up. So that just kind of lets me know that hey, my thermostat's open and everything's good to go on that. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna run our antifreeze into our motor. What we've done here is we've taken off our garden hose, and we have our line running straight from our antifreeze tank now going to the Fake-A-Lake. Try to get the best video there for you, but what we're gonna do, we're gonna open this valve. We're going to open this pressure relief. We're going to open this valve, and you'll start seeing antifreeze run out of the tank straight into the hose there. Things that you want to be doing here is making sure that you're getting it in there. This probably needs to be a little bit higher. It needs to be above the motor level. That way it will actually feed into the motor. So I'm gonna lift this up if I can without making too much of a mess, and hopefully that'll reach. I'm gonna lift it up, put it on the swim platform, and go from there. All right, so now that we're up over the swim platform, we're above the motor. It's able to gravity feed in. As you can see, it's feeding right in. We're filling up, and it's already pouring antifreeze out of that hose. So we're gonna come in here. We're gonna start this boat real quick and climb up in here. Excuse my mess. Like I said, we're getting the interior redone in the winter or in the spring. So let's start it. Cycle through. Fire it right up. We're just gonna come out here, go look at the exhaust, and we're gonna come out here and look at the exhaust and just wait to see until the antifreeze starts running out of the exhaust. You'll see it pink. You can see this is really starting to suck through. Sucking through, going right to the motor. Guys, while this is sucking through, I'm just kind of waiting. You'll see it's going pretty quick. I'm just gonna start watching my water coming out of my exhaust pipe until it turns pink. And that way I know that we're starting to get antifreeze all the way through the motor and it's coming out. And I'll just run it till all this is gone. And actually look right now, you can see it. See we're getting pink coming out of there. Ground's pink. That means we're good to go already. It's as simple as that, pretty quick process. Hey, one thing while this is draining down I want to mention is this is marine antifreeze, so it's safe for the environment. Come springtime, a lot of marinas and stuff that winterize your boat want you to bring it back in the spring so they can de-winterize it. It's not necessary. This stuff right here is safe for the lake. Pretty much when you get to the lake come spring, you can just start your boat right up and have no worries and you're ready to go, ready to rock. So I'm gonna let this drain all the way out, put as much as I can in there, turn my boat back off, and then we'll start the process of doing an oil change. All right, so boat's turned off. See, we've got antifreeze in there. So like I was saying, you guys can replace the impeller. I would do that process before you go to winterize or before you go to put antifreeze in it. So if you do it after, you're gonna obviously open up that impeller housing and all your antifreeze that's in there is gonna come back out. So do that before. I've already done mine. Last year at the end of the season, our impeller housing broke, just split in half, old probably plastic, and we replaced it a few weeks ago. Before it got real cold, and I just haven't had time to do this, but what I would do is replace that first, replace the impeller, just the little rubber impeller in there. Do that once a year probably is best practice. So it's kind of, on my boat, it's a little hard to get to. Some are easier, but mine's hard to get to, but I've done it a few times, so it's not too bad. Hey, so one more thing I'll mention here about winterizing is if you have ballast pumps, everybody's a little bit different, but this is how mine's set up. I've got 4 aerator pumps for my inlet, and I've got my inlet valve open, so anything that's in there can drain. You can either run some antifreeze in those, but what I do is I take each individual one out. I do that on the back side, so I don't have to worry about those. And I also take out my bags, so my bags are empty here, and I'll have an impeller here, but I've already got it taken off. Go ahead and take all those things out, put them in your garage, put them in a bag and store for in the springtime, so they don't get ruined. Whoever had the boat before me did not do that, and every single one of these impellers were no good, so I had to replace them all. All right, guys, so next thing we're going to do is drain the oil. And all boats are different. Some of them will have a drain plug on the bottom of the boat, or mine you just can't get to. So what I do is I use this drill actuated electric pump, and this end here will go straight down my dipstick tube all the way till it hits the bottom, and this end will go into my bucket. So I've already got my bucket in here, and right there's where my dipstick will go. I'll stick it in there and they're in, and we just drill it right out until there ain't nothing left. All right, guys, so we're pumping oil now. All right, guys, last few things that we're gonna do. We're gonna replace our oil filter. Should be pretty easy to find on mine. It's gonna be on the right side of the motor. So right side of the motor, it'll be right down there. It's pretty easy to do. Just pull off your old one. I got a little oil on me. Pull off your old one, see the part number, go to AutoZone or whatever, and get your new one. Put it on, refill it back up with oil. And after that, we're gonna take out our batteries. I always mark which cables go to which ones. Put on a trickle charger for the winter, and then we're gonna run up to the gas station, fill it all the way full, as much as we can put in it, and we're gonna put a little bit of fuel stabilizer in it. So I like to use this Startron, get it at Walmart, wherever. I've been doing this on this particular boat for 5 years, 5 seasons, haven't had an issue at all. Every year fires right up, or don't have any issues at all as far as winterization goes. We're in East Tennessee. Sometimes it gets 17 degrees, but it doesn't really stay below freezing for very, very long. Sometimes we'll get a couple days here and there that'll stay below freezing, but it's just peace of mind for me. If you guys have any questions, all boats are kind of different, but for a 350 Mercruiser, this is pretty basic and pretty simple. So thank you guys, and let me know if you got any questions.